Guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Math Stats, and I am back with another video for you guys. Pretty simple video, but very useful. Today we're talking about functions. So a function, basically, let's keep it as simple as possible. A function is something you want to do. You want to do something with it. You have, let's say, you have an equation, and you want to find if that function can actually give you the results you're looking for. So basically, they are basically used generally or frequently, I should say, for equations. You know, the same way you have x that is used commonly for a variable, then when you have a function, there is that little f, the letter f that they use to denote a function. So, for instance, you would have f of x, meaning what is the value of f when you have a number x in it, or f of x. Basically, that's what the function actually is. It's more like an equation. So if you have an equation, we used to have that y equals x squared plus 4x plus 5 type. Well, instead of writing y, we say, okay, we have a function of x, so f of x is equal to x squared plus 4x plus y plus 4, something like that. So let's actually see. Just a quick tip. In a function, the output can have many inputs. So for instance, the f of x is a technical term for y. So whenever you see an f of x equals something, think of it as y equals something. It's usually for an equation, meaning f of x is an output. If you go back to my previous video, I mentioned that y is an output. Well, the same thing. F of x is also an output. Now, let's actually talk about this. One input x will give you only one output f of x or y, but you can have multiple input to give you the same output. You cannot have, so one output cannot have multiple output cannot have one input. So if x is equal to 2, and then you say f of x equals x squared, then you put 2 into x, you're going to get 4. 4 is the output. The same way, if you put negative 2 and you square it, it will give you 4. So you see, multiple input can give you the same output, but you cannot have multiple output from one input. So that's the caveat for that. Now let's get into some exercises. That way you can actually understand what's actually going on. Let's say we have this function f of x. Ooh, nope, not that one. Where's my pencil at? There we go. let's say we have f of x. Remember, f of x is an output, equals to 4x plus 5. Well, in a sense, we wanna find out, let's say when we put 2 for x, when we put -2, and when we put 0 into the function. So the function is 4x plus 5, and we want to know when we put those numbers, 2, -2, and 0, into the function, what would it give us? So in a sense, we're replacing x by this number 2. So that would be f of 2 is equal to 4 times 2 plus 5. And that will give you f of 2 is equal to 8 plus 5. So f of 2 equals to 13. If we put -2, what do we get? Well, that would give us f of -2 equals to 4 times -2 plus 5. And that would be equal to -8 plus 5, which is equal to -3. If we put 0, we get f of 0 equals to 4 times 0 plus 5, which is equal to 0 plus 5, which is equal to 5. So, look at this. We put 2, and it gives us 13. You cannot put 2 and for it to give you a different number. Yet, if the answer is 13, we could have put another number to give us 13. So 13 could have had many inputs, all right? But if you put one input, you cannot get many outputs from the same input. So don't forget that part. Let's look at a different example. Let's say something that is of a second degree. So the first time we saw a first degree, which is the first degree equation, meaning the exponent of the variable is 1. So we're going to look at a second degree. Second degree means the exponent is squared. So let's look at this example right here. Let's say we have p of x. Okay, so the f for f of x thing, it can be anything. So the function can be called f of x. It can be called h of x. It can be called j of x, p of x, q of x. It can be called anything. It's just a name that we use. Usually because we say function and it starts with an f, so we usually use the term f of x. But it can be called anything. It can be called theta of x, alpha of x, delta of x, omega of x, anything you can think of, m of x. You can even put your own name, or I would say math stats of x. It can be anything. So don't get hung up into the f of x, meaning that's the only thing you can write as a function. So p of x equals to 3 minus 4t minus 2t squared. That's a second degree equation because the highest exponent is 2. If it was the third degree equation, it would be the highest exponent would have been 3 and so forth. So we want to find out when p of 4, p of -4, and, well, let's say p of 0. So what do we get? Well, when you put the 4 in it, what do you get? Well, you get p of 4 equals to 3 minus 4 times 4 minus 2 times 4 squared. And that would be equal to 3 minus 16 minus What is 4 squared is 16 times 2 is 32. So that would be 3 minus 16 is minus 13, minus 32 is minus 45. So that's when that's when t is equal to 4. What if t is equal to negative 4? Well, it would be p of negative 4 equals to 3 minus 4 times negative 4 minus 2 times negative 4 squared. That would be equal to 3 minus times minus, right, is equal to positive, and 4 times 4 is equal to 16. 4 squared minus 4 squared is 16 times 2 is minus 32, and that's 19 minus 32, which is minus 13. And when p is equal to 0, when p is equal to 0, what do we get? Well, we're going to get 3, right? So when p is equal to 0, let's say p of 0, that's 3 minus 4 times 0 minus 2 times 0 squared. 0, 0, and then so it's equal to 3. Basically, that's how you do it. That's how you do the function. I want you to remember this one too. Understand this. When you have a positive times positive, the answer is positive. When you have positive times negative, or negative times positive, it's negative, and negative minus times minus is positive. That you need to know. So I'm going to stop it right here for today. I want to see you guys again the next time. We will look at domain and how it is done, and domain and range, because this is in the same chapter. Guys, don't forget again to like if you like the video, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, you can always donate via my Cash App and PayPal, which is in the description down below. I hope to see you guys again. This was Math Stats. Until then, Math Stats out.